Welcome to Eddie's Funhouse. It's Booby Tuesday, where we talk about breast cancer awareness. Be sure to get checked, get your mammogram, do your self examination. Sometimes you can catch breast cancer if you do a self examination. Learn how to do that. I'm pretty sure there are tutorials on how to do a proper self examination. Sometimes, like when you're in the shower or putting a on, I'm telling you, sometimes early detection. I keep hearing that early detection is very important. So, if you're a breast cancer survivor, you know, tell us about it. Tell us about it. Give people hope for the future. Because sometimes when you're diagnosed with breast cancer, you get a sense of doom. You get a sense of uh, fear and sadness, but don't let that grip you. Get with other people who have gone through breast cancer treatment. Get through other people. Get with people who are, who can give you emotional support. Um, just any kind of support. Because yeah, when you're first told you have breast cancer, um, it's scary. I'm pretty sure. It's I'm sorry. I'm occupied here. I'm trying to fix my rattle. I have some glue I'm going to apply because I tried to apply wax and the wax wasn't waxy enough. So I'm going to put glue and I'm going to wait for it to dry because I've already wrapped cord, not cord, like string, a thick string. Because I am a craftsman. I like doing things like this. And I like showing off the things that I've made. That's why I like to have glue. I like to have needles and thread. I like to have tools. I think this glue will work. I think it will work because it will make that string stay there. And maybe I can be your emotional support. Maybe we who come to Eddie's Funhouse can help you, if you have testimonials or if you just need some encouragement to stick with the treatment, um, be reminded that you're loved. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do this, but I gotta fix my rattle. I gotta have my rattle. If I don't have my rattle, I can't do any shamanic rattling. Turkey feathers are used sometimes. They use feathers when they're waving sage around. So it is 18 minutes after 1300. So it's 1318, 118 for people in the US. And hopefully people start getting the signal that I am live. All right, now I can make eye contact, prolonged eye contact. Yeah, 1 o'clock, usually people are at work. They're coming back from lunch. They're hopefully they've had a belly full of lunch before they get back to the daily grind. So mommy is at hospital again. They're saying she had a panic attack. That's and because her body isn't showing any signs that anything's wrong. She's just having panic attacks. I think if I turned a light on, I wouldn't look so ghostly. Maybe I should look ghostly. I came up with an ingenious idea. I guess, yeah, we'll talk about, I haven't done this in a while. I used to do Booby Tuesday. Booby Tuesday to raise awareness, to talk about breast cancer and help people through it, and encourage people to go get tested, because I think that would make a world of difference if you catch your malignant cancer tumor or location before it spreads, because all they have to do is remove that little bitty speck. Men can get breast cancer also. So guys, touch your boobies. Touch your boobies. Men, when you're in the shower, just start pushing around your nipple, your armpit, because my brother, when he was going through his Hodgkin's lymphoma treatment, he was talking to a guy who had breast cancer, and men can also get it because it's the breast, or like breastplate or breast of chicken. I'm wearing my Saint Benedict ring today. Saint Benedict. He is supposed to be the master exorcist, or Saint Benedict. They say he had somebody tried to poison him with wine, and the wine glass broke before he could drink it, and somebody tried to poison him with a piece of bread, and I think a raven came and swooped in and took away the piece of bread before he could eat it. Maybe I might have something in common with Saint Benedict. People try to poison my reputation sometimes, and maybe God will step in and save me from a compromised relationship. Not relationship. Not relations. I just said the word reputation. So if somebody tries to compromise, give me a bad reputation by spreading rumors or lies. Hi, welcome to Eddie's Funhouse. I have lemonade today. It's not real lemonade. It's like a sugar-free. Tonight was going to be spaghetti. We were going to have spaghetti tonight. But tonight, instead, I'm going to have ham and rice. Ham and a special kind of rice. It's like a gourmet rice. I don't mess around. Ham and gourmet rice. I'm going to chop the ham up into little cubes, cook the ham, and then I'm also going to have beans, ham, beans, and gourmet rice today for dinner. Yep, Mom is at hospital right now. They kept saying she's having a panic attack, which doesn't have anything. It has little to do with her health. I've been watching your streams for like a week. It's really nice. Break your a really chill. Oh, it's a really nice break. You're a really chill guy. Thank you. See, that helps my reputation. I like things that help my reputation, because then I can keep doing this. Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. If you're tired of the same old story. Roll with the changes. Is that how that song goes? Roll with the changes. Keep on rolling. Carry on, my wayward son. Son, there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. And don't you cry no more. Don't you cry no more. Don't you cry no more. My wayward son. I already read that. Mark as read. I wish I could do that. That'd be a nice feature on live stream when you live stream on YouTube. If you can just delete a message after you've read it, that would be cool. You just hit a little button. I read it, delete, delete. But I guess people need to read what was already read. I'm happy that our house has no draft. I've lived in apartments, I've lived in trailers that have a draft. Drafts can really ruin things. If you're trying to heat up your home and you have a draft, you have like a window that's not weatherized properly, that doesn't have caulking with an L, caulking. There's caulking and then there's caulking. Yes, so make sure that you inspect your windows. Inspect your windows, your door frames, any bullet holes you might have. There's a storm where I live right now. What kind of a storm is it? We had a winter storm. I think it's still happening. We've had clear days, which is good. It's 41 degrees today. Yesterday, I think it was in the 30s. We're in for some cold days, at least this week. Cold days. So today's Tuesday. Booby Tuesday. Get your breast exam. Do a mammogram. Mammograms are easier. It's easier for them to find out what's going on in those those sweater puppies, those shoulder boulders, or whatever. We need to think of words used to describe the breast. Yeah, shoulder boulders, boobies, bumpy bits, dirty pillows. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, do your mammogram, your self-exam. Yeah, my mom goes in for regular mammograms. You put your boobies in there and press them down, and they take pictures of what's going on in there. So this might be the place to come if you're diagnosed, or if you're not diagnosed. You just gloat about how lucky you are. How lucky you are that you don't have breast cancer. You don't know how lucky you are, girl. You don't know how lucky you are. Yeah, think of the relief you'll feel. The relief you will feel when you find out you're okay. You're okay. Nothing is wrong. A lot of people should come forward with their stories about breast cancer. I think Shannon Doherty, who else? Christina Applegate. So don't be ashamed. It's nothing to be ashamed of if you're diagnosed with breast cancer. Like I said, get with people who are going through the same thing. You can support each other and feel a little better, But again, that relief, you go in, because some people are afraid that they might have it, so they don't want to know. But you know, if you do know, you can get treated. So just overcome that fear of getting checked out. But it's normally 50 miles per hour. What are you talking about? 50? Oh, the wind? How old are you? How old if you don't? People ask me how old I am all the time. All the time they ask me how old I am. Yes, early detection. Early detection. But sometimes it takes a little bravery. It takes a little bravery to get checked out. Because, yeah, you don't want to know you have breast cancer. But if you have that bravery and get checked out and find out, hey, we can cure this, we can fix this before it becomes catastrophic, and you can live the rest of your life and you can support other, give encouraging words to people who have had breast or who are newly diagnosed. I was just talking to one of the nurses. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. But you know what? Yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was Monday. I took my mom to an appointment of hers, and I saw the nurse that said she was diagnosed and went for treatment, and I saw her. So she's probably okay. I know people don't just want to say, "Hey, tell me about your breasts. What's up with the cancer?" So I guess you have to choose your audience, choose who you're gonna reveal that information to. So anyway, what else can we talk about? It is Booby Tuesday, so anytime you want to go back on the topic of Booby Tuesday, breast cancer awareness, getting checked out, and getting the emotional support, getting the moral support, people who have gone through it or are going through it themselves. I can't preach enough. Any type of cancer, sometimes every 6 months you go in and get a checkup. They can refer you. If they find something, they can refer you to a physician who specializes. And but my God, they got to do something about the healthcare industry. Healthcare is just crazy. How it's a cash grab. It's a giant just a cash grab, cash and carry. Nobody's regulating how much a doctor visit is, how much it is, and the doctor just comes in and talks to you and then goes away. Talks to you and, hey, how you doing? Yeah, really. Just BS's with you with nothing really important. I'm not a doctor. Maybe I shouldn't talk so much trash, but these are just my experiences. I mean, I'm glad there are doctors because I cut my head open one time. I completely passed out, just out of the blue. I felt it coming on too. I was standing in front of the bathroom sink and I go, if I lay down, I won't fall down. But what I should have done was just drop my knees. Just drop, or right where you're standing, sit down if you feel like you're going to pass out. For whatever reason, they thought I was drinking. They thought that was the reason I passed out. But then later I found that I had a lot of heart issues, ventricular tachycardia, cardiac neuropathy. It's like trying to remember what they're called. So when people ask me, so what's up with you? They don't know anything about you sometimes. You go in to see a doctor and it's like you got to give them an update. You should be in the system. I got one like today. A movie or show that made you laugh out loud. Let me think. What movie did I see that was? I think Jackass might have been one of the Jackass movies. Another one I think was Dinner for Schmucks. Have you ever seen Dinner for Schmucks? But it's normally oh, you retracted it. I wish I could delete what I've already read. Let me see if there's a feature in here. I can delete, just delete, report, remove, channel activity, add as moderator. Yeah, they should add that feature. Once you've already read someone's contribution to the chat, you can just delete it. What time is it in the UK? If it's 1300 there, or 1300 here, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's probably 1700 there, which is 5 o'clock. 1700 over there. If I'm not mistaken, I have a feeling I might be taking my mother home tonight. Because again, it was just a panic attack. And her overreaction, she gets worked up, so it doesn't take much to get her worked up. I could talk about anything and she'll just get, Mom, calm down. Don't get so worked up. Just take it easy. Take it easy, lemon squeezy. Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream. Is that a flute? You can call it a flute. You know what? The Smithsonian Institute has Fred Rogers' sweater and Arthur Fonzarelli's, Henry Winkler's jacket, the jacket that the Fonz wore, the leather jacket that the Fonz wore. Everybody knew who the Fonz was back in the 70s, and I think early 80s even. Early 80s even. What is that? It is called a recorder, most commonly known as I was doing some shifting last night. They say you can shift into different dimensions, and I could feel the shift happening. It's pretty interesting. A lot of people are into shifting. I think it on a lot of YouTube hype. They say if you're focusing on the reality that you want wholeheartedly, without distraction, you can shift, because they say this is a multiverse. There are so many different outcomes, so many different possibilities, and you can actually shift to a different timeline to get you to where you want to go. Like if some people are bothering you, you can switch from that reality to the reality where people aren't bothering you. Those people or whoever, or running into people who upset you. Nice to see you again, Tony. How did I get the name Tony? This is not Tony's Funhouse. I'm also known as Tony, like Tony the Tiger or Tony Soprano. I think it's just to make the people comfortable. That's what I think. All this stuff about going after the mafioso, going after the Cosa Nostra, I don't think they're really stopping Cosa Nostra. They're just trying to make everybody think that they're competent, that they're able to stop the things that people are worried about. They want people to think that they're being handled, when I don't really think that it's really. But anyways, it's these are just things I think about. Like if somebody gets shot, they always want to show a shooter. And I think even if they don't find the shooter, they still show a shooter. So everyone will relax. They don't want to know that he's still out there, that he's still able to do what he's doing or wants to do. Like the Jack the Ripper case. They couldn't find Jack the Ripper. I think they did. Let me know if you know more about that. Or like Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader was the bind, torture, kill guy, and they didn't know who he was. He was out there, and he would write letters when he to let them know that no, they're wrong. They didn't catch him yet. Dennis Rader was installing burglar alarms. He was the very guy that they were trying to protect themselves from. Was the guy who was installing the home alarm system. I think they should have drones in the house. Drones that just spring into action. Drones that can squirt you with sedatives. Drones that could hit you with a needle and just knock you out for an hour. You go into somebody's house and you just find them passed out on the floor. Oh, so there's a guy who was stealing my stuff. Then he could paint his toenails and shove him out the door. Yeah, bind, torture, kill. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah, he was a churchgoer too, and people liked him. They knew him. He was a functioning church member, but he had a habit. He had a habit of binding, torturing, and killing. And they always slip some way, one way or another. They seem to slip. They seem to do some. They zig when they should have zagged, and then they get caught. Then they're mad. Jeffrey Dahmer seemed nonchalant when he got caught. And then there's serial killers, some people just kill because they want to kill. They don't kill for a reason. It's just a hobby. It's their hobby, you know. They need to look into that. You know, when somebody kills somebody, they need to ask, why did you do it? You know, not all killing, I think, is wrong. If you kill a guy who's molesting your daughter, if you kill a guy uh, who's just um, being a menace, that shouldn't be considered murder. It should be a public service. You're doing a public service. Have you ever watched Remo Williams? There was a movie called Remo Williams. Chun. He was a guy who was training Remo Williams, and he said, assassination is the highest form of public service. But then the wrong people get assassinated. They tried to assassinate Hitler. They tried to assassinate him a few times, and they were failed attempts, you know. But then they tried to assassinate Donald Trump at least twice, that we know of, that the media lets us know. Ronald Reagan, somebody tries to assassinate him, you know, and it's Kennedy was a successful assassination. Abraham Lincoln was a successful assassination. Not all the time is it the highest form of public service. But it's like, it depends on who you ask, I guess. People who are hired to, you know, I hear about anyways, I'm not going to talk too much about, because then that'll put me on the list. But it made me think for a while. That's what Chun said. He said, assassination is the highest form of public service. But then when you go after our president, that's not good. You know, when you go after somebody who just debates people, you know, like Charlie Kirk, he just debated people, and they found him, you know, worthy of a shot to the neck. I don't know. These are things I think about, you know. Could you imagine if they were to get Charlie Manson, if they were to bump him off before he did any harm, if they were to bump off the BTK guy, BTK, if they were to bump him off, wouldn't that be a high form of public service? That way you're eliminating a threat. You're neutralizing a threat. That's what they should do instead of indicting. If someone is a known serial killer, you know, they have the evidence, they have the confession. I don't know. Maybe I need to not speak my heart so much. Maybe I shouldn't speak my heart so much. But if you think about it, if you were to neutralize the threat before they progressed, before they got worse, if you were to not let people back out into society who are capable of violence, if you're capable of violence, you should be watched 24/7, 7 days a week, add another day on leap year, 31 days a month. If somebody's capable of violence, they need to be watched. They need to be monitored. You know, like, where are you? What are you doing right now? Because any minute they could just, they're capable of it. That's what we need to be aware of. They are capable of a violent act, sometimes extreme violent acts, and they still let them walk. Thoughts on Wayne Gacy? He was a clown. He was a clown. People, I think they hired him for birthdays, but he just had a hobby. He had the hobby that wasn't very productive to society. Yeah, I'm just going through my memory. People who were assassinated and people who they were attempts on their life. And it's scary. If somebody doesn't like you, you could just go outside one day, sit in a chair and start speaking your mind, and somebody just bumps you off. Or come up with a car that runs on water. That's happened before. People come up with a car that runs on water or a car that runs on hydrogen, some kind of genius work, and they die under strange circumstances, or they just disappear. Strange circumstances, heart attack, they can make it look like a heart attack. Who knows, man? You never know when your number's up. Any day of the week, you could just go out to the mailbox and you're done. You're done. You could be at buying popcorn at the movie. You're at the movie, you go up to the concession stand, and all of a sudden your number's up. You could be eating a corn dog at the fair, and your number comes up. Anyways, I need to think of better things. I need to think of brighter things. Can't you feel a brand new day? Can't you feel a brand new day? That song was off the Wiz soundtrack. You ever watch the Wiz? It came out like in the 70s. This is pretty good glue. I'm peeling it off. I used to do that as a kid. When I was a kid, I would rub glue on my hand and let it dry. And then I would peel it off. There's a lady comedian who, Shamedian, since we're so much into gender now, there's a comedian and then there's a shamedian, a she-median, a she-median. Anyways, she was talking about how she would put glue on her hand and peel it off. It was kind of fun doing that. You just wait for the glue to dry and just comes off. I already read that. So at 2:00, I'm supposed to call my auntie. It is 1:50. Wow, a whole hour went by. Damn. So it's 1:52. So at 1400, I'm going to call my auntie to let her know that mom is at hospital. I was told that's the way they say it in the UK. In the UK, they don't say she's in the hospital. They say she's at hospital. She is being monitored, I guess. I think she just likes the hospital food. She likes the hospital food, and she likes to have people bring her the hospital food. I swear she was a queen in another lifetime. She wants to have a queenly life. She wants the walk-in tub. She wants to own a scooter. It's like the only time you need a scooter is when you're at the grocery store or at Walmart. Grocery store, Walmart. That's the only time you really need a scooter. She wants one. It's like they came here for her physical therapy, and she stood up and started physical therapy, and then they took her to the hospital. What happened to your mom? Like I said, physical therapy. She had 2 nurses arrive here to give her physical therapy. And she said her head felt heavy. They were all saying it was a panic attack. Something triggered a panic attack. And I've been noticing this all along. It's like there's nothing really wrong with her. When they take her vitals, she's okay. She just needs to not get all worked up. She gets so worked up over, if she feels something wrong with herself, she thinks she's going to die. And so we're not going to have spaghetti tonight. I'm going to have ham and gourmet rice, broccoli cheese rice. And I'm going to have some beans, Boston or baked beans. And I guess we'll have spaghetti another night. Hello. Welcome to Ed's Updates, formerly known as Eddie's Funhouse. No, it's still Eddie's Funhouse. Eddie thinks about stuff. That's what we should call it. Eddie thinks about stuff. Could you imagine that? If just the right people were eliminated? Hello, Eddie from Germany. Hello. Could you please play some funny songs for me today? Who's that? Grand Am. So somebody died. Okay. You know what? For death. That's taps, right? You play taps when somebody dies. They had a song. There was an Indian guy, Native American guy, who, have you ever watched, there's a movie called Ishi, Last of His Tribe. There was a book about him, Ishi. It was Last of His Tribe. They have a death song that they sing. It was something like Hainapo, Yahanapo, Hainapo. And that was and he was surprised that they didn't have death songs. You know, it's like, you guys don't have a death song? Oh, grandma. Okay. How old did she get? Incoming cell. I'm getting a call right now. They can leave me a message. That's my ringtone. You like it? There we go. They're going to hang up. So I'm sorry to hear about your grandma. I think my grandma got to be in her 70s before she passed. I've known women to get to their 92 years old, you know. But were you close to your grandma? It's harder when you're close to your grandma, when you've had a good relationship. I say, remember everything good that you had, every good interaction you had, things you used to do together. That usually helps, you know. And then go through the stages of grief, you know. Don't neglect any of the stages of grief. I don't know if that's a worldwide thing, but here in the US, they talk about the stages of grief. Acceptance. 85. Wow. That's good. 85 years old. Did she go peacefully? That's what I always wonder. Did they go peacefully? You know, were there any complications? Some people go when they pass, you know, they get agitated, they get anxious, they're in pain. That's what I don't like, is when somebody's in pain while they're dying. My mother's father just died in his chair. He got a blood clot and he just passed away in his chair. And I'm back. Welcome back. We're talking about grandmas and remembering the good times. We have a very good, that's good. So you probably had closure, you know. Some people, they die and they go, wow, I wish I could tell them that I loved him. I wish I could have told him I'm sorry. That's the hard part about death, is when you don't have closure yet. Oh, that's so sad. I agree. I had a couple of my uncles died. Three of my uncles died. And yeah, it affects the whole family. My mother's brother died a couple of years ago. My dad died a couple of years ago. 2017, I think it was, a few years ago. And yeah, and when I hear like my aunt my aunt Carol, she passed. My aunt Caroline passed. So Carol and Caroline, yeah, wow. But they're in the sweet by and by. She have cancer. So yeah, that when you see it coming, you kind of get prepared for it, but then when the day finally comes, yeah, I've heard about deaths, and my reaction to it is, you know, it happens. Everybody dies. Paul Castellano, I think he was a mob boss, Paul Castellano. He said, "We're all going to die. Let's act accordingly." It was a hard fight. It usually is. Like I mentioned, Shannon Doherty, she had a long fight with cancer before she passed. Some people are still going through it. I have told her every day. Yes, that makes me cry. Yeah. It's very important to tell people you love them, because you want them to know, and there's no that. There's nothing gay about it. There's no shame. Tell your grandma that I love you, and then if they tell you the same thing, it's even better. Yeah. Well, it's nice that we can share this, So you need to hear a funny song? I don't know any funny songs. I guess we can be funny. Maybe a funny song will come to my mind. Oh, you can, Stephen Lynch, look up the country love song. Stephen Lynch has a country love song that's pretty funny. And Grandpa, he sings a song about Grandpa. I think that's the name of the song. Yeah, Stephen Lynch is a good comedian. He's one of my go-to guys. Stephen Lynch. Yeah, it's called Grandfather or yeah. Another one, a good one is yeah, it seems last night you caught me spanking it. No use denying it. I was really cranking it. So dry your eyes. Don't be so sad. Just because it was your bed, it's not that bad. You are very good, man. Eddie, I like your show when you're playing instruments. Well, let's play an instrument. Let's play my didgeridoo. I think I'm a champion at this. I think I'm a champion jaw harp. Champion of the jaw harp. I've heard myself play and I'm impressed. Not to toot my own jaw harp. I've heard myself play the jaw harp and I go, that's pretty good. They should play this when they're people in a movie, they're getting ready for a battle. Don't be sad. Just think of it. Just like be it will die sometime. Do poopy doopy. Do poopy doopy. Hello. That's NASA. Yes. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming to Eddie's Funhouse. I think it's time now. I need to stop for lunch. Eddie, your videos are... You like my videos? They are the best. They are the best. Right now it is. Oh, I'm late. I got to call my auntie. I told her I'd call her at 2 o'clock or so. So thank you for the time I've spent. Thank you for the time we've spent. Sorry. And I'll sure and play more instruments. Guten Tag. No, Auf Wiedersehen. That's right. Auf Wiedersehen. What time is it in the U.S.? It is right now 2:05, 2:06. Yes, I must go. I got to keep a promise.